visibility isn't about being generic and just posting and posting and posting. It's actually all about becoming unmistakable. So today I've got 3 questions for you, and these are going to help you to really feel yourself and also to come across unmistakable in your content and on your website. And we're going to weave human design into this as well. And this is absolutely for you if you have literally watched the transformations of your clients happening before your very eyes, right in front of you, and you're feeling invisible still, right? So you know that your work works, and yet you still really feel quite invisible. Visibility is not necessarily a confidence problem. It can be. It's not necessarily a content problem. It can be. But it's not about, this video specifically is not about a new content formula or a hook or anything else that kind of like draws your people in. What's happening is what I want to go over with you today is a very simple process that I take my own clients through in Visibility by Design, my private one-to-one container, because I find a lot of the time, because we are very transformational people ourselves, we are also transforming at a rate that can be quite quick, and we grow and our work evolves, and even the way that you work with your clients, the way you work with yourself, the problems that you solve as well, all of this moves forward, and yet somehow your marketing, your visibility, website content, whatever it is, somehow that doesn't catch up with you. And you might well be, and I see this all the time, I see this quite often, you might well be operating a few versions behind yourself. And this feels like invisibility, but actually it's just a little bit of lag. And I'm going to give you these 3 questions to help you to really make a couple of tweaks to your website and the way that you talk on social media to allow you to really step into the new, updated version of you. So here's a framework. And like I said, this is something that your website will really, really benefit from. At the very least, your sales page is going to want to be containing these 3 things. So the best way to do this is actually, because they're not just like one-word answers, grab a journal, and then once you've written the answers out, and also maybe use human design as well to have a little bit of a sneak peek into, what you could include on here. I want you to highlight some of the key phrases or the key words that you've kind of come up with, and then start inserting them into your website. And this is going to help you to become unmistakable rather than just generically visible. So here are the 3 questions that I want you to ask yourself. And the first 2 kind of come in the same bracket. They're very, very close. So the first question is, why you? Why would someone work with you? And why not somebody else? Okay. Now, this is not something that you want to be very generic on. This isn't all about, oh, I really care about my clients, or, oh, I have a certificate in this. It's very specifically, if you walk into a room, what do you bring to that room that nobody else does at all? Now, here's the thing with this, is that when you try and answer from your head, you actually end up saying things that end up being really, really generic. Things like, I help people find clarity. I help people with confidence. And that's not deep enough anyway to start off with. And I'll go into that on another video. But the language that you're using from your head is probably a language that a lot of people can also use as well, which means it's not specifically belonging to you and you only. And this is where the wonderful world of human design comes in. So the about you part of your website, or, anything that you might put on social media that's like at the bottom that says, hi, I'm Charlie, this is what I do. Or also that short bit on your sales page that kind of tells people like who you are. All of this stuff is not here to make you interesting, and it's also not here to help you to connect with people who might have the same interests as you. This is here to help the audience find a very specific truth that they might be looking for, rather than just sort of like reading something really, really generic that's about you. So stop describing yourself in a way that everybody else describes themselves. Now, I'm going to use myself as an example of what you can do in this instance. So I had a version of my sort of like whole about thing. And it was something like, I'm going to help you burn down the parts of your business that don't align with you anymore. And I'm going to help you rebuild those parts in accordance to your human design. Now, yes, that sounds amazing, right? Well, not really, actually, but it's something that somebody else can say. In fact, quite a few people do say it. And just because I was adding human design onto that doesn't necessarily mean that I was any different from anybody else, right? Human design is just a vehicle. It's just the modality that I happen to use. It's not necessarily the differentiator. But now what I have on my website is this. Now I do start with a small sentence all around who it is that I work with. And I also bring in a little bit of the desire that I know that my clients have. Right. So I start with this. So I work with visionary leaders whose work has outgrown conventional language and who are ready to stop being admired and start being chosen. Okay. So that first sentence leans people towards me if that is them. And then it pushes people away if that, if that doesn't resonate with you. Then I go into myself a little bit more. So I say that my background sits at the intersection of human design, identity work, and strategic positioning. So I'm putting three things together here that kind of make the tripod of my work. And then I go in to say, and this is part two of the question, which is why me and why not somebody else? I say, here is what makes my approach different. I don't teach you how to position yourself. Okay. So I'm saying right now, I'm not going to do the work for you. Okay. I go on to say, I reveal how you're already designed to be seen, and then translate that into a language your dream clients can actually understand. As a projector, my gift is seeing what is invisible to you, where your brilliance is being undersold, where your messaging is creating distance instead of connection, and where your authority is ready to land once the noise clears. Now, again, as a projector, that might be very, very similar to what other projectors say, but I do bring my own nuance into that as well. I also then go on to say most coaches work from templates, hooks, and logical persuasion. So again, I'm putting myself apart from the other people in the industry, the business mentors. And I then go on to say I work from frequency, psychology, and truth. Okay, so here's the thing to remember whilst you are doing this for yourself. This is something that I say to my international digital marketing clients that are non-spiritual in my consulting side of my business. So I always say to them, nobody cares about you. What they care about is what you do for them. Okay. So I have this conversation all the time with my clients. It's like, nobody cares that you are, you've won an award and you've done this and you've done that and you've got these like, PhD students working for you, all that sort of stuff. Nobody cares that your logo is red or, whatever. What they care about is just the solution that you provide for them. So when I can translate this into something for you here, my lovely spiritual visionary, this is not about writing a list of all the things, or the list of like the client, sort of like things that you can do. It's not about a list of your qualifications. Actually, this is where using your human design can really help you to understand that differentiation. And clients of mine on Visibility by Design will know that I actually use 4 placements in the human design body graph that actually allow you to bring forth that uniqueness into the world. So instead of using the same sentences that everybody else uses in your industry, try looking at your conscious sun. Okay. So the number that the gate that you have as your conscious sun, and also your conscious Mercury as well. Your conscious sun is like what you are here to shine out into the world. And your conscious Mercury is the message that you have for people as well. And see if studying those particular gates will help you to understand yourself more and bring more differentiation about to your about section. Then once you have answered this and you've done your journaling and you've, highlighted those particular sentences, you've also looked at your conscious sun and Mercury gate, what I want you to then test in your new about page or about section that you've made, take that sentence that is supposed to be your differentiation, delete your name from it, and then try putting somebody else's name in there. So like think of somebody in your industry and see whether it still works. If it does still work, that is not differentiation yet. Okay. It's just industry language. It's that you just put your name to it. Okay. So that's the first two questions. I know it's kind of like a question and a half, really, but that's the first two questions. And I've got one more question for you. Okay. The next question is, why now? So when you sit with this question, it's all about, why does this work need to exist in the world today, at this moment in time, and not someday when I feel more ready or someday when I have the money? Okay. What is true right now that makes that makes somebody waiting for this actually like more expensive? Okay. Now I just want to be really clear here, because this is like a big value that I have within my own business. This is not about bro marketing, okay? Making things really urgent and using that kind of like icky, convincing language that means that you are broken and I am going to fix you, okay? Nobody is ever broken. You're not broken. Your clients aren't broken. My clients aren't broken. We are not here to fix each other here. But if you are stuck on this particular question, there are a couple of things that I would love you to look at. So look at the pattern that is showing up in your client work right now, and maybe have a look at what is showing up now versus what it was like a year ago. And that sometimes is a really clear signal of, what needs saying right now, rather than, oh, like it will be nice to have, like when it's ready, when I'm ready, when I feel ready. Okay. The other thing I want you to do as well is look at what's shifting outside of your work, like in your industry, your culture, and also in what people are really, really hungry for. Like look at the trends, look at what's happening, because timing is something to do with like the room that you're stepping into, rather than just, you being a flag over here that's kind of like, just by yourself. Okay. And it's also not necessarily about what's happening inside you as well. You can look at your own timeline. You can bring your own transformations into this. But just have a look and see whether there is a season that's developing or closing or changing, maybe a threshold that people seem to be, like trying to cross. And just try and bring in some language into your website and to your sales page and your social media copy as well, that makes the someday simply not true at all. Okay. And then start weaving these into your website and your sales page copy. So here's what I want you to sit with as well from this episode is, which of these three questions did you struggle to answer the most? Okay. Did you struggle with all of them? One of them? Was it why you, why now, or why not somebody else? Let me know in the comments below if you're watching on YouTube. And if this is the layer that you're really ready to work through properly, not just think about it, but actually sort of like excavate this from, your deepest, darkest identity and like bring it up to the surface, then this is the work that we do together inside Visibility by Design, which is my private one-to-one container. So if you want to go deeper, then all of that information is linked below in the show notes. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you on the next video.